Thank you, Sunil. We take a commercial. So I don't think we are getting the commercial and the sponsors. So we'll start the panel discussion. Just to give you a couple of notices, very important. We are the guys who are between you and lunch. So let's make it a little bit more interactive. You know the numbers and the Twitter accounts. Just send us the questions. I already got a couple of questions. The theme for this session is about digital and mobile and how it is helping you to, and how you should actually leverage to get more customer experience. So we are going to stay away some very boring, interesting conversations like privacy and information and all that, because I'm seeing a series of questions coming in, and there is a bunch of guys who are actually sending series of messages, probably trying to take advantage of marketing efforts here. Very nice, I like that. Supun, first question to you. So I love the fact that we have 22 or 27 mobile users. Whatever the number that, more than the general population of Sri Lanka, the mobile penetration has really gone up. I believe most of the audience here are brand managers and marketing managers and people who are looking at ways of really enhancing this experience on mobile, because we say mobile first, mobile then. But I think the problem we always have struggled with is the fact that we haven't really had a meaningful way to do that up to now, especially support from telcos and etc. I mean, the best we got a payment gateway, not a payment gateway, SMS gateways and a little bit of SMS messaging. So could you just elaborate a bit more for the next 2 to 3 years? How do you think, as a brand managers, we should be concerned about mobile and building customer experience on mobile platforms, according to what you are seeing?
Yeah. Thank you, Rohan. I touched on that mobile MIFE gateway. If you look back, the first step is that I think AdReach is a platform that, digital advertising platform that we have here, we have in Bangladesh, MobiReach. So mobile advertising, we started way back in somewhere around 2001 or 2, 15 years ago. That was that SMS ports. But since then, we have evolved, and today the mobile advertising alone, the boring SMS alone is far more intelligent, because you can, as a marketer, as a brand manager, you can select your customer base, you can select the age, the demography, their spend patterns, you can select their location and do much more targeted advertising. That is pure SMS, but this is also going into in-app advertising, web advertising. The bottom line is basically how can you enrich that information set that you are providing or targeting, as Atik mentioned, with our information about the customer, with the information that where is he spending his time on the web. Is he e-commerce customer, or is he a Facebook customer? Is he looking for travel deals, or is he looking for something else? So all that information is getting aggregated. Not so sophisticated on the internet side yet, because when the traffic goes through HTTPS, we don't see much. But apart from that, we see a lot on the demographics, and especially dialogue with the presence in digital services has the ability to go beyond pure mobile experience. So the marketing managers can now do campaigns to your customers directly and then do more targeted campaigns. Over the next 3 years, it will get more richer. The content will get richer and the targeting will be more accurate. And on top of this, we are building the MIFE gateway.
Yeah, so my thing is, like I'm sitting here today at Cinnamon Grand. Would Cinnamon Grand now be able to know that Rohan is sitting at this place and offer me 10% discount on their buffet?
Yeah, it can. I think the analytics that through Dialogue's gateway they have built, they can pick, for example, who are the customers now roaming from operator Robi in Bangladesh at Cinnamon Grand. In split second, in 5 minutes or within a minute, they can run a query and tell how many mobiles are there, and send a message to those 5 customers. If you want to select a certain age group, again, you can do that. So analytics and that capturing that information insights has been quite advanced now. Simple message of picking aroma, it's basically finding a needle in a haystack. That is possible. But how do you enable the manager, brand manager, to do campaigns on this? Say if Unilever wants to do a Lux campaign, or those days it was on postcards. You want to run a campaign, you send a postcard. Can you run a USSD campaign, say type this code and then give you a request? For that, today, you might have to reach the mobile operator or agency. But with the MIFE gateway, you can do that campaign on your own. Together with MIFE and IdeaMart, you can create a campaign and publish that code and get customer responses immediately.
When will this be available? Just a quick question. So because I want just
already available. The
already
IdeaMart
available.
platform is already available. So through that, I've seen Unilever doing campaigns here in Indonesia. Right. We just did one with Unilever in Bangladesh for Eid. So that is available. IdeaMart is one of the biggest platforms, not only to end customer, but for enterprises, especially for brand managers, to activate these kind of campaigns where you can see responses immediately, and it is much easier to create a campaign. Within a week, you can create a campaign and go up and running.
Yeah, because the reason why I think it's important is because that ties into the experience. If I get a better experience, then I won't think of that message as an intrusive SMS. I think I'm just being very focused, so I'm just trying to churn out as many questions as possible. So you talked about an interesting area called programmatic buying, right? So the question is, it seems like a very interesting way to be able to buy people looking at any type of interest across devices, etc., and be able to target a message. So it's like marketing heaven. Now, I know you're from not from the country, but what is your observation about Sri Lanka? Is this available for Sri Lanka right now? Any particular situation that you think we are 3 years out, 5 years out for this? Because it's interesting to see it, but how long does it take before it really becomes available for us to manage an audience as brand managers?
Hello. So your question is
it here now?
Is it here now? Okay. According to me, it's a platform, right? I mean, it's a platform which is like a Facebook platform. Like you can be in the United States of America, use Facebook, and you can be in some other country and use Facebook. It doesn't matter. Facebook remains the Facebook. Programmatic platforms remain programmatic platforms. Okay, you use it in India, Sri Lanka, they are the same. It is what actually goes in the mix. So for example, what kind of inventory goes in the mix, what kind of data element goes in the mix, that really creates the pizza, like, special pizza, like, what's the topping that you're putting in. So what kind of advertiser data is coming inside the whole ecosystem, what publishers are putting in the system, what the technology companies are doing it.
But are brand managers aware of this, and are they ready to handle this?
I would not be able to comment on that brand managers are available on this, but what I can say is that it's something which is easy to use. People just create a big wall in front of themselves saying that, hey, this is complicated, this is difficult, it's so confusing. Right. But it's, as I said, it's just a platform, how you use a Facebook system, connect with your friends, connect with different APIs in Facebook. It's exactly the same as to go ahead and look at Facebook, your consumers as your friends, and reach them through that. I'm
just going to connect it to a question we got from the audience. It basically asks about, like, how do you manage one-on-one interactions when you do some things like that? I know it's not about programmatic buying, it's about a post kind of a campaign type of situation. But can you give some advice to everyone here about managing one-on-one interactions? Because that has direct relationship with the customer experience management as well.
Yeah, so when it comes to one-on-one interactions, there are various ways you can do that. One of them is, for example, there's a brand, GSK brand, that we work with, and whenever there is a temperature which kind of really goes beyond a certain period of time, okay, to a certain Celsius in certain areas, we show them an ad which talks about how Panadol can help your cold. Likewise, we work with Bridgestone, where there is something which is raining. So if suppose weather precision has become so precise right now that if I'm in a suburb in Bombay and I know that there is raining, I can actually show an ad about a Bridgestone tire saying that it's time to change your tires, etc. So these are ways where you can do your one-to-one advertising. In the post facto, when the campaign is over, okay, you need to kind of set segments into the whole piece where you understand that these particular audiences have reacted to this ad in this particular way.
Right.
And basis that, you need to improve your future digital plans.
Seems like a lot of work. So that's a different conversation for now, but we'll come back to that. Naresh, I wanted to ask you...
Colombo-centric buyers, but also buyers...
e-commerce in Sri Lanka, it's primarily mobile phones, all this high-end stuff that I wouldn't buy every day, that are most likely being pushed. Now, for your e-commerce to really gain traction, one of the...
As well as to trust the final mile of fulfillment to your doorstep.
Right. So one of the previous presentations, Zoe, actually, she presented about the 4 ingredients to make e-commerce success. And she said it's trust, access, experience, and then price options. Now, let me leave out the 3 for now and leave on experience, right? How important is it for experience? And let me ask you a very honest question. For me, the best e-commerce experience is on Amazon. Why are we not getting that kind of experience on e-commerce platforms in Sri Lanka?
To be very open and honest with you, Rohan, it is the lack of infrastructure that we as e-commerce companies are facing. Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal are huge companies with a huge amount of influx of valuation money being put in. We relatively are very tiny. So it takes a lot to get your systems, your UIs, your fulfillment, your customer service teams, your inventory to that scale. Do we have enough customers purchasing with us for us to bring about that scalability? No. But like I said earlier, the last 2 years...
Wouldn't that be a chicken and egg situation because you are not providing the great experience? Wouldn't there be lack of people buying things from you?
That's what we are facing. That's what e-commerce is facing. Right. We see a lot of dropouts after the first purchase. I'm sure at least most of you all in the room would have made at least one purchase and then thought or had a bad experience with either the product or how it was delivered to you, or customer service, or whatever, and then dropped out from there. So that is the challenge that e-commerce companies are faced with in Sri Lanka. And that's what companies like Wow.lk, Kapruka are changing the game on.
Fantastic. Naresh, let me come to Sunil. I'm seeing a number of questions coming up, and I see the same question also repeated a number of times. So I'm trying to structure it in a way that we get the most out of the time we have. Sunil, you spoke about very interesting area, quite new to most of the brand managers, and I think people who are here, something called social listening, other than people who are already in that industry. So social listening allows us to manage influencers beyond certain kind of just beyond someone who commenting, liking, engaging, whatever on a page. The problem I've seen in the market is the fact that most of the tools we have are either very expensive, right? And the other thing is that even if you do actually get it, it doesn't have enough data to create a meaningful engagement or meaningful insight for us in markets like Sri Lanka. Is that a fair assessment, or what do you think about that? Do brand managers come across this? Because it's really important.
So if I go about listening a bit more, what actually you're trying to listen. So if it is just the likes and dislike of something from your company, then it's obviously...
No, it's a lot more than that, because I think, let's say we have come to that point.
So beyond that, what you need to do is you need to think of a workflow wherein your first thing is to find out whether somebody liked or not. If somebody liked, then what do you do next? So you need to plan that and create a forum so that people participate in that forum, they get invited in that forum. So once they are invited in the forum, you know a bit about their digital background. So we call it a digital body language. Now those set of people, those who are qualified to go to level 2 discussion would be moving on to level 3 discussion as well. Now all of this is automated. None of them are going to be manually done by anybody in a company. So this is the place where the tools comes into the picture. So these tools, you said, right, yes, they are expensive, but there are some cheaper options available even in Sri Lanka right now. During the break, do talk to us. We'll help you to understand what is that you're trying to monitor. You would be able to monitor a topic. You would be able to monitor those area of your interest, things like that. And then you basically go step by step in qualifying those respondents, and then you move to the next stage. And then there is going to be a point from where your people, be it customer service or sales or somebody from your company, would get those information moved on to their inbox. And then onwards is one-to-one, and you take care of them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sunil. So I'm just going to take a couple of questions from the audience. Please keep sending it in. There's an interesting question about, apart from social media, what are the other touch points do you suggest for digital marketing in Sri Lanka? Sunil, I'm just going to ask that question because I think the truth is the slang word for internet right now is social media. Yes, internet existed, but now the word that is people pretty much use it will be social media. So apart from social media, what are the things that people could do to drive experiences on digital?
So there are a lot of groups and forums available today where people are information. So they are the one to be watched as well. So that's a separate channel which we need to actively monitor. And if I'm a brand manager of, let's say, a beer company, to me, anything and everything happening in the beer world is key. So I would like to monitor all of that globally. And if specifically I'm looking at, let's say, a new country like Argentina, I want to go there, and there's a big sports event or some annual event happening, what are the respondents talking there? And how do we benefit from it? And if my brand is being advertised there, how do I create a bigger awareness there? So I need to monitor the entire sports channel over there and see who is talking what. And that's how those sports channels become interest to me as well. So it's just not only your website or a smaller space. You got to watch out for the bigger event going on there so that you will be able to participate there.
I think I'm going to ask this question from you. It's basically a question that I've been coming again and again with, especially ad block. So it's interesting. How would you recommend reaching out to your audience digitally and provide an experience when there are more and more people opting to stay away from this? I know that multinational companies pay money to ad block to make sure that their advertising are shown. That's a way of solving that, but obviously everybody can't do that. So any particular way that you are thinking about addressing that?
See, as a concern factor, ad blocking should not affect advertisers a lot. Till the time they are doing third-party ad serving and delivering the ad themselves, okay, you can avoid ad blocking. So for example, if suppose today you're buying, say, 1 million impressions on a specific site, okay, and you only pay the publisher when you have actually delivered those 1 million impressions. If there are ad blockings in place, okay, the ad might be blocked, but you have not delivered your impression. So it is very important to control the measurement at the advertiser end rather than keep it to the publisher end. So that's one way that normally a lot of markets are getting way through. The other piece on ad blocking is that there is a lot of politics and there is technology wars between companies and publishers, which is kind of also creating this whole problem in the place. But as advertisers, we should not be too much worried about it.
Sure, I understand. Supun, a question for you. Essentially, there have been questions about the platform that you spoke about. I know that at the moment it's not available for maybe a smaller SMB kind of, which I think is something you should make very fast. But question is, right now, as a brand, if I want to communicate on a mobile platform to an audience, what are your 3-4 things that you would recommend to increase the engagement and experience that people can use, that you recommend? I'm not talking only about Dialogue or Axiata Group as a thing, but as overall, what do you think are the 3 things that you have noticed seems to be working?
I think as a brand, we are increasingly moving money to digital. So mobile advertising is good, but still in terms of richness of the content that you deliver is weak. So as Robi as a brand, when we invest close to $20-30 million every year, we have started moving all that money, at least a good chunk of our offline spend into digital, because we have fairly good set of information about the customer. As Atik mentioned, the click-through rates and also the conversions. And there's better visibility on ROI. Instead of putting a shop board or you call it a festoon or a retailer poster, and it will get washed away in the monsoon. Gradually, we are moving out of that trade marketing stuff. Gradually, we are moving out of home stuff. Because it's increasingly challenging as a brand when you are spending large sums to track the actual spend of it, the effectiveness, and relative to the digital media. So, and there's platforms that gives visibility on our advertising across all, be it Google, Facebook, and the other internet mediums. This also gives us, say, the music service I mentioned. You cannot completely rely on digital. That is a myth. I think even if you see the commerce brands like a Flipkart, they will start on ATL. They will start with a TV campaign, then support with digital. If I try only to do a campaign on digital, it is not going to fly. So I need the mass audience to start talking about the campaign on TV. So TV is still a powerful medium. And then I can target through social media and digital advertising. This particular music service we also saw that there is click-through rates, pay on installation. But from installation to actual listening of music, we lose 50%. They download the app also. So we pay the digital Facebook or Google on the download. So they download, but they don't use. 50% doesn't use. Because maybe in the registration we ask for the email address and customer doesn't know what an email address is.
Understand. It's a very different type of challenges faced with. So Naresh, I wanted to ask you this question. Now, you said about rural trying to buy more and housewives and all that, because there are a couple of questions that have been coming up in this one. Now, do you do any type of consistent monitoring about how your experiences are on your e-commerce platform? And to what level are you doing it? And do you absolutely, now I know you said about scale and the challenges and all that, but do you hope to like make it even different, or how do you handle this problem you have? Because you can't say that I don't have scale and still lose to big players all the time, right? Then you are going to be out of business.
Yes, we as a company, we invest a lot in terms of getting better at what we do. We look at and we analyze data for us to be targeting the right products to the right customers rather than just bombard them with everything and anything that we have. And also, we have also been in the forefront in breaking the norms of e-commerce being limited just within the Western province. As at present, we have taken the online brand out to the rural parts of Sri Lanka. And we have seen good take-up. Customers...
But that is only the first-time users, right? When the user gets more sophisticated, he would need more from you, right?
Definitely, and that's where inventory and localizing what we do will matter. There's no point for us to go out to, let's say, one part of Sri Lanka and promote a wearable Fitbit. We need to be relevant to what we're pushing out there. So that's something that we are heavily investing in. And we have seen that the initiation grow traction. And that's something that we will continue to focus on and take to the other parts of Sri Lanka.
So Neil, one of the questions that I'm sure that we all wanted to ask is that this is all great. There seems to be platforms available, Dialogue seems to be, Aksara Group seems to be coming up with platforms that will help us to do a lot of experience management, real-time data, etc. So digitally, we are obviously going to be very sophisticated, if not today, within the next 12 to 18 months. And we can achieve the target of a person, marketing to a person of one. Organization-wise, brand managers in multinational companies, medium-sized companies who have been doing marketing till cows come home, in ATL, PR, all of that. There has to be some changes that is required in terms of organization, in terms of skill set, in terms of talent. Would you like to add something in terms of being able to cater to this programmatic buying, to all of that? What are the skill sets? What are the changes? What are the things that is needed for an organization to be able to handle all of this?
Okay. So first, by enabling a company into social, what are we actually making them? We are making them more agile. As I said in my presentation, social enablement is not about only one LOB. It's for the entire company. So whatever we do in social platform, the benefit of that should come to all the departments. Now, these tools, these social solutions are something which are so easily implemented, so fast they are implemented, you would actually be surprised to hear you won't need any additional types of resources required to manage them. Pretty much your IT partner should be able to do it. So your key focus should be what you want to do from the social data you are collecting and how you are putting the data back to your various LOBs. Information about a new product line or a change to your product is something which goes to your product development team directly. And they are more agile. They will be able to come up with a new product line with these inputs. And they will be able to interact directly with this group of people, those who are their loyal product user for so many years. So your company can become more agile, and there is very little you need to do internally in your company. Obviously, you would be needing a set of products and services with which you will be socially enabled.
Right, thanks, Sunil. So I think I'm just checking whether there's any question, because guys, I'm seeing a lot of questions, but I'm trying to make sure that it is within the scope that we are talking about. As I said, there are certain things that I think are not topics, like privacy. There are a lot of questions that have been coming in, etc. So, and then ethical standards, etc. So I wanted to just raise one question to Supun, because we are almost running out of time. Can you comment about just give us 3 things over the next 3 to 5 years that's going to be very exciting for brand managers in mobile?
So I'm also not a fortune teller, but I'll try and tell based on what are the trends that we have seen in the developed world. So digital, for sure, you need to really look at it and put more money behind that, and be smart at it, and then invest and make sure that you generate that return. That is one big area. The other one is the interaction with the consumer. So once you do the digital, then how can you get into a interaction relationship? I think Dialog did with Odell the beacon technology, where you place sensors, and then if you go to a place where there's a sensor, and then you get offers. So try and build a real-time affiliation with the consumer. So it's not pushing stuff to the consumer. There's a matching, and then based on that, that transaction or that advertising will get displayed. That should get more and more, because as I mentioned, IoT is going to come, and IoT will be, these consumer applications will be significantly influencing the brand managers going forward. You need to make use of this information set to drive. The third one is probably still, I would stick to the basic of the customer experience transformation. That is something that we, as a country, Sri Lanka, because I think Sri Lanka should be proud that we are within the top 50 countries in terms of broadband availability in the world. We are ahead of Australia, we are ahead of Malaysia. But in terms of adoption of these services, we are nowhere. So it is beyond the telcos, or it is beyond the technology companies that the rest of the community, corporate community, needs to come together to take advantage of this infrastructure. I don't have this infrastructure in Bangladesh, but you have it in Sri Lanka. And you need to make use of that infrastructure because it's going to be a low-cost medium. It is much cheaper, and it is personalized.
Thanks, Supun. I think there's an interesting question for you on the screen. I'll just read it out. In a B2C scenario, you may create awareness and even certain interest on a product through social media. But how can you then graduate those customers using their individual profiling data to convert? Would you like to take that question?
I'm not sure if I've got the question correctly yet.
Right. So, okay, sorry. I think I'll ask that question from Sunil. Let me come back to you on this. I couldn't capture who spoke about IoT in the apparel industry. There was an example that was mentioned here as a question. I'd like to know whether did we discuss? There's a question saying someone mentioned about it and they wanted to elaborate that. I thought that was an interesting question. Sorry, guys, don't remember that. Okay.
I think the Odell one, that was the Odell one, which is more retail experience. But IoT on apparel also is getting used. The first step is giving an NFC card to the machine operator when she or he gets into the bus. You know the machine operator got into the bus. So the factory line can plan the line to make sure that all the operators are there without wasting another half an hour till they come to the factory. That is one simple IoT. In Bangladesh, we just did one project with a garment factory where we gave about 15,000 smartphones to all the machine operators. And they are putting applications onto that smartphone to track productivity of the machine operator, and that is also available at an aggregated level. So apparel industry is also striving to see how can you bring in these technologies to improve the productivity.
Yep, great. So I mean, since we are running out of time, I think I found the question. Sorry, I think it was running around and I kind of missed it. I think as mentioned, the platforms are not allowing data transfers between each other to utilize the wealth if data that we can capture through social media. So I think the data wealth that you can capture from social media, but can't utilize it because of the transferring is not allowed between. How can we overcome this challenge affordably?
Okay, there is not a yes and a no answer to that, unfortunately, because there are certain providers like, I don't want to name them, but what they would do is they'll
Please name them.
No, I can't. They will go ahead and cache that data so that you can't port that data out and make it used further for your marketing insights. But as advertisers, we need to understand that, yes, that data kind of belongs to them, but then the advertising that you do on their specific platforms, okay, that's the data point that you can own. And that can be migrated through data management platforms, through just to name some of them is Lotame, Adobe, etc. And you basically using that data management platforms, you can then take it to other platforms like GDN network or probably any other advertising solutions, etc.
Right. So closingly, 3 points that you think every organization should think about when approaching programmatic advertising.
I think something which was mentioned in my slides, like analyze, attribute, and evolve, because we are all learning in the process. Even companies like Google and Facebook are learning, to be honest.
Thanks, Atik. Naresh, especially about e-commerce, what does the future look like? What are the 3 things that actually you think that's going to be really critical for e-commerce success in Sri Lanka?
I think getting the first and the last mile is very important. Because that's
when you say first and the last mile, would you elaborate for a moment?
From the point of getting the customer onto your site to delivering your product at the doorstep of a customer. That's what the infrastructure here is lacking the most. Engaging with your customers and being relevant, knowing what their types, what they like to purchase, what products they like to purchase. and bringing in that convenience, because everyone who gets onto an online site is looking for convenience. So those would be the 3 points.
Right. Thanks, Naresh. Sunil, last question to you. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube, Vine all became successful without ATL, because Supun actually commented about ATL, and I disagree with him completely. But what is your take on that? So he said ATL is needed for you to actually start pushing it, and then digital can be a supportive medium. Whereas there's a feedback saying that most of these organizations now completely spot and asking you which side are you going to take.
No, I think it's see, what basically I'm saying is any company which is doing a brick and mortar business already, and social becomes a new channel available to them, and this new channel poses a lot of opportunity for you to grab the attention of your existing customers, new prospects. The question which was asked some time back was also that if you see certain behavior of your existing customer or a prospect, what do you do with it? Yes, the answer to that question is yes. I mean, you can do a lot with that. We actually call that as a social body language. If it's a company or an individual, we understand his body language, and based on that, we take corrective action. So
very diplomatic answer, Sunil. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Lakshman, over to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Before I thank personally our panel, I have a few things to contribute. Somebody asked, there are a lot of guys from MAs here. I believe at least 25, 30, or 35. There are a lot of guys from MAs here. What is that IoT company? Ensiga. Ensiga is a Sri Lankan company, or actually based in Singapore. I believe that they did a lot of work with MAs. So the guys who want to know about IoT in our industry, how it is used in the production line, I suggest that talk to them. Then I think there are at least 4 or 5 people from MAS brands. I don't know how many of you have heard about Ultimo. Okay, go to ultimo.co.uk, I think, and this is a website. No one will think a brand generated from Sri Lanka. And Charu told about, okay, leverage digital to invade other countries and win the market. So that's a fantastic lesson you can learn from MAS brands. By the way, full disclosure, I'm not paid anything from by MAS. Not yet. I hope that they will write a check. So I just want to contribute, and there are MAS guys here. You should be able to learn much more. There's a pleasant task to perform. There are 3 boxes I have. These are gifts from Sampath Bank. I have absolutely no idea what inside, but I reliably understood that from very reliable source that each of these boxes contain debit card with 1 million rupees already credited. May I invite Nadi Dharmasiri, Head of Marketing Sampath Bank, over here for the raffle draw. Hi, Nadi. So Nadi has the cup, please. Yep. Here the that. Oh, I forgot to put my card. And those people who put credit card, they are all liabilities wiped out. Wow. MS Capital Private Limited, IT Division, Manager SAP Basis, Chandramouli Balachandran. Mr. Balachandran from MAS Brands. Okay, here's the guy you need to catch about, Ultimo. I believe I get my commission. Here comes the second 1 million rupees. Shane Pierce, CEO, founder. I don't see a company. Oh, Chipset Worldwide, another company which is invading the whole world. Shane? Shane is not here? Here comes Shane. Oh, sorry. The last 1 million rupee prize goes to this is not fair. I know what you did. You bribed your former colleague. Yes. Yes, your former boss. Now, this is not fair at all. Roshan Kalwarachi, CEO of SLT, Human Capital Solutions. Roshan, are you here? Not here? Okay, no, we have to get another one thing. Yeah. That's Lakmal Rodrigo from Manager Digital Delivery, British Council. Oh. Thank you so much, Nadi. Okay, I also would like to make once again remind you, there's a TNS booth outside. You can test yourself how digitally connected you are. I think it takes less than 30 minutes. And the lucky winners will get one workshop free on their world-famous digital connected live workshop. And I also want to thank once again MIT for bringing Sunil over here from SRM to deliver this talk about SRM. MIT Millennium MIT is Sri Lanka's largest systems integrator and software products organization, leading in market segments such as capital markets, banking, tech, telecom, and hospitality, now introducing breakthrough SRM solutions. Continue to be Sri Lanka's flag bearer of technology to the world. So that's about MIT. I'm inviting everybody, all of you, for a short break, 20 minutes lunch break. No, I'm joking. Okay. Now it is 1:20. We'll be back at 1 o'clock. And before that, please put your... Oh, sorry, 2 o'clock. Okay, okay, 2 o'clock. And please put your hands together and thank our penalty. Oh, wonderful. Absolutely great.
Lead sponsor.
We are the ones who transform a challenge into endless opportunities. We are the ones who let our work define us with our goal to be the best. We are the ones who never stop. And we are the ones who change the face of technology. A partnership with us results only in success. as we always work with integrity, innovation, and